Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ritu Podcast Show. This is my season 2, episode 3, and I have with me here Kavisha Behrani. She is a very great friend of mine, and also she is the crusader to begin my podcast journey. So, she was my first guest on my season 1, episode 1, and I'm so glad to have her back on my show today. The last time when we had met, we had talked about some other topics, but today I am especially excited to have her on my show because she's going to talk a lot about a very interesting topic that touches upon every one of us every day: finance, right? We all deal with our finances every single day. And she's a finance expert. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about that and maybe a little bit delve deep into some topics. But yeah, I'll give it to Kavisha. Kavisha, can you just give a little bit introduction for my viewers? I know they may remember you from the episode 1, but just to refresh their memory, and then also let them know that you're a finance expert. Over to you,
You've put a lot
Kavisha.
of you've put a lot of pressure on me, Ritu.
No,
Hi
go ahead.
everyone, and Ritu, thanks for having me again. So I'm Kavisha, as you slightly alluded to, and I moved to US about 10 years back. By academics, from that point of view, I'm an engineer and I did my MBA finance. Early on in my life, finance was something that I used to always run from. Numbers were not my forte. But as you get more into it, right? They say the more you do, you start loving it. So, as I moved into this new country, didn't know anything about the market here and, how to grow money and all that. So, kind of self-educated myself time and again through various modes. And today, I'll say that I'm decent at it. And then from my professional point of view, I work as a senior vice president in Citibank. I manage a team of data scientists. So that's very different. Data science is very different from this financial thing, but this is more of my internal passion that drives me. And, working on that, I have educated a lot of my friends. I try to spread awareness among my female friends because I see they generally lag in that. They think that it's the men who take lead in that, which I totally disagree with, but I'm sure we'll cover more of this in your podcast later today. But that's a brief about me.
Yes, great. Thank you. Thanks, Kavisha, and thank you for sharing that. I think this podcast and the questions that we delve into would really be insightful to a lot of people. So let's just get right into it. So, like we were talking before, Kavisha, we need to, like, for example, what's if we go by your own personal experiences, right, and how you got into this, what's one financial habit that has drastically improved your financial well-being, and how can someone just starting out adopt it?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Ritu. If I think about it, right, I think what I did benefited me a lot was I automated everything. I don't depend on my whims and fancies that, today if I get my salary, right, I don't want to see where the stock market is today. Because if the market is up, I don't want to feel that it's already so high, let me not invest it. So I just automate my saving. Just to give you an example, like for example, we have 401k in industries, right? Or 403b if you're a federal worker, whatever it be the case be. You don't, they don't ask you that today should we deduct or not. Are you comfortable or not? Before you get your paycheck, it is already deducted, right? So that ways, when it's the end of your career, you see that it's grown so much drastically. That's mainly because it was not dependent on our whims and fancies that today we have this expenditure to take care of. Today I have to buy this, so let me not park my 401k. So to your point, right, automating my savings so that before I get my post-taxed money into my account, it is already taken care of. I think
Hmm.
that takes care of that greed and that fear out of it, and you don't get to see that money. It's just invested before you see that. So I think that one small part was a game changer. And I'll ask all of you to do that because whether you are in investing or not, regardless of that, right? I'm sure most of you have your 401k or 403bs as it is, you sometime, go and check your accounts and you'll be blown away by the growth that you have there. So, and because you have not touched it, there is no intentional interference again, because you have to keep that mind out of that. Just put it and forget about it. So
Hmm.
I think that was a game changer once I learned it and I
Yeah.
started implementing.
And Kavisha, I would agree that that's a very good thing to do. I myself talk to my friends who invest, and they ask me this. So Ritu, do you do it every month? Like, do you do it every month? And like you said, if you don't automate it, you have to think about it. Like paycheck came, okay, then okay, let me go and do something about the money that I want to do with. Oh, but this month I want to go on a vacation or do this or whatever, and then you park it on the side, just like you said. So I think that's a great advice right there to begin with. But Kavisha, when we're talking about investment, right, in stock market, a lot of people don't have really the knowledge to understand how to invest, right? Like what are the kinds of stocks that are out there in the market, what are mutual funds, or there are several different terminologies in stocks as well that you don't understand, and I know one must learn to understand those. There are several trainings free, of course, that you can do online. But what would you suggest to people like those? I know in this today's world, I'm sure people have some, they have heard this or know more than we used to 5 years ago, maybe, or 10 years ago. But like, what would you say to a person who's like really new into this, and they're just like scared of the stock market, just so to say, because people think it's a gamble and you can lose money. But just explain to people like those, like how it works, and how can you make sure that it's going to pay off at the end of the day?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question, Ritu. Again, I'll say that ignorance is very, very expensive, right? So, what you have to start doing it first, make a mindset that you have to educate yourself, because no matter how much I tell on your show today, or no matter how much I tell to any friends or any family, unless you get your hands wet with it, right, you will not understand the nuances. You will not agree with me. So I'll say that the starting point has to be the acknowledgement that I don't know and I want to learn. Because nobody can push that through you, because unless it's coming from inside, it's all a waste, right? So once you acknowledge that, yes, I don't know this piece, and I want to make myself educated and aware about it, right? That's the second. After that, you come to the second point, and second point is you start educating yourself. And as you rightly said, right, there is no dearth of resources. You have so many books out there, you have so many conferences, course, every other day something or the other crosses my social media that we are teaching this, we are teaching. I will say start from somewhere. Let it be wrong, and that's completely okay. The reason we don't make progress in life, we are so fearful of going wrong. What is the problem in going wrong? The reason children learn so fast and we as adults don't, because they don't have this fear. What if I go wrong? The fear hasn't touched them yet.
Yeah.
And we, through our upbringing, right, we feel, what if I buy this book and it's a waste? What if Amazon has a 30-day return policy, right? And what if you waste 15, $20 on a book? How does that matter? A
Yeah.
good evening
Yeah.
out with your friends and family is $100, right? So spend money. Ritu, you wouldn't believe that, you have been to my house, right? My monthly expenditure on books is more than anything else in I mean, I am a book person and I
Yeah.
love it and I spend
Yeah.
money. So that's the starting point. And the reason I say books is because that's the cheapest resource you will get. Conferences still get expensive, the other mentorship and a lot of things. I have done all that. In
Mm.
my last 2018 or 2017, I remember I had gone to India for a visit, meeting my family, and my brother insisted that, go do this course. There was a, investment course. And I'm like, no, I'm not going, because I was like
Mm.
everybody else. No, I'm not
Yeah.
going. And then he
Yeah.
insisted, and I went there, even though what I do today is very different from what I learned at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Somewhere there is a seed that you sow.
Yeah.
Somewhere there is a starting point. So to all your audience, I'll say that, start from the books. And I can just drop in some good books to you, Ritu, so that
Yes.
you can
Yes.
mention that in podcast. So
Mm-hmm.
people have to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and then we iterate from there. Unless we start, right, we don't grow. You start from one book, you realize, no, this is not something that I'm interested in. That author itself will refer four other books in their
Yeah.
books, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
move from there. It's a journey. It's a journey of
Yes.
peaks and valleys, but
Yes.
you got to take it and then, see where you find your interest and learn from there.
Exactly. Like you have to take it in your control, right? And you can't take it until you have the knowledge to do that. So I
Exactly.
completely agree to what you said. Thank you for sharing
Yep.
that,
Yep. And Ritu, that may
Kavisha.
not be, maybe that's not the direct answer that you were expecting, but
Yeah.
where I'm trying to get is that no matter what I tell on your show today, people will not do it, because
Yeah.
unless and until it is a enlightenment from inside, which comes when you start reading, because every author, every book talks differently to each
Yeah,
person.
yeah. No,
So
but you
when
did you did answer the question, Kavisha, because people don't know where to start, right? And if
exactly,
it's coming from a person like you, who's a financial expert, who has knowledge in this field, experience in this field, has been investing for many years, people will take heed to that, right? Because that's how you started, and then that's
yeah,
how everybody starts. So
true.
I think you did answer the question. So and so, like we discussed a little bit before or touched upon it, Kavisha, why do you think financial literacy, especially, is important for women, and what steps can we take to bridge the knowledge gap? I know some of the steps you already talked about, but let's just try to uncover why there is the financial literacy or illiteracy in women. I mean, I could be wrong in saying that it's rampant now, because now everybody knows what they're doing. They're independent, making money, but I still see a lot of women will put that financial burden on the male counterpart in their family. So let's just talk a little bit about that, Kavisha. What do you think? What's your opinion or experience with that?
Yeah, I 100% agree, Ritu, that women put this more on men, which I don't think is right because see, financial literacy or financial decisions, they have to be all inclusive, right? Husband and wife both have to be part of it because the results impact both of them equally.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen in my own home, right? My mom and dad. My dad was, both were earning, both were in jobs, but my dad used to take most of the financial decisions. So what happens at the end is the lady of the house is totally blinded. Not that my dad did not include, my mom was not interested. Like most of us are. We are generally not interested because, we have 10,000 other things to take care of,
Mm-hmm.
kids and office and that. And then we think that this is something, that's not my cup of tea, which is incorrect. And I'll tell you the reason it is incorrect is because men think in a certain way, women think in a certain way. Women are more risk averse, men are more risk averse. So when decisions, right? Men drive all the decisions, then it's a very risk-taking situation at every step. And if women of the house is completely blinded to it, right? Then that's not the perfect place to be. So I think it should be a blend of both of them, men and women included, especially when it comes to big decisions. Just sit together, decide what you want to do, and take it from there. I think women play a very significant role, and the only reason they are not included in this financial decision making is because they happily step out of that.
Yeah.
So you can't
Yes.
complain when
Yeah.
you happily left your seat on the table,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? I wouldn't be comfortable if, me and my husband are buying a big house or a car or any material financial decision in my house, and I'm not party to it because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, your money is a collective pool of money. It's
Yeah.
not that you have different, even though it is going to be different accounts, but
Yes.
it's a collective decision,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And men think they know more. I think it's only thinking in their mind because society has made them believe that it's a patriarchal society. You
Thank you for
believe that,
saying that. I was going to touch that it's also a conditioning of both men and
exactly.
women from where we come from and how we grew up. But I see a lot of changes. I see a lot of changes in myself, Kavisha, from where I was and how I think now. 10 years ago, I was the same person that you were just describing, and I know a lot of people won't even think that I would be that person, but I was like, I just put it on my husband to just take all the decisions and you know uh, take the brunt or credit of it, right? Whatever that decision may be. But nowadays, for the past few years, I feel like no, it's the both of us that are together, right? Sorry, it's my alarm.
No, no, that's fine. I think we didn't even hear that.
All right,
Yeah.
so thank you for that, Kavisha. I think that was a good discussion right there. Yeah, so going back to what we were talking before about investments, right, Kavisha, and I know that as you said that we are going to learn from our mistakes, but just to, make my viewers aware, like what are some of the most common mistakes beginners make when they're investing, and how can they avoid them? I know we must make some to learn from them, but since they have now the opportunity to hear from you, maybe they can avoid a few that are pretty common.
Yeah, so I'll start giving my example again, briefly touching on the point that you have to take the first steps. Those mistakes are a part of the journey. As they say, right? Obstacle is the way. You have
Hmm.
to fall before you get up. You have to take
Absolutely.
two steps back before you make four jumps ahead. So that's how it is. Even when I started, right, I was totally novice to it about 8, 10 years back. And I started investing in some penny stocks. Penny stocks are something which is not listed in the stock market. There are some groups, Telegram groups, and all. They used to tell that you have to invest in that. So I think in my first month, first week of investing, I had lost $10,000.
Wow.
$10,000. Now,
Mm.
this tells you first that I have total command of my money. I take my decisions completely. I don't have to think too much about spending $10,000 also. I was learning, and in my mind, I was going to grow that money. But what happened in one moment, I earned, I think, 8, 9 thousand because the stock went up, and that gave me the greed. And I invested more and I lost $10,000. I got my hands burnt, and then I stepped back and then I went to the books again to understand the fundamentals. So once you know the fundamentals, right, then there is nothing that can scare you, whichever field that is, whether it be finance, health, or whatever, right? So when you talk about the biggest, mistakes that people make in stock market, that's there are two emotions that drive stock market. One is greed and one is fear. Now you have to keep both these emotions out of the story, right? People get greedy when the market is going up and up and up and up, and they think that it will continue to go up. And the moment you invest, you realize this was the peak, and from there the downfall starts. You are killed now, right? Because you did not understand the market. You did not listen to the fundamentals. You heard that in last yesterday's party, some friend was saying that he bought this stock XYZ and it was doing very well for the last 2 years, and you invested. You didn't see that where the point where you invested was the 52-week high. That's the highest it has gone, and now from there it's a downward trend. So then you come back to the same folks again, and stock market is bad, I lost my money, this and that. And if you think about it, losing money, right, Ritu, I never get it when my friends say that I lost my money, I lost. Why do you lose your money? Unless you sell the stock, it's all a virtual loss. Who's asking you to sell the stock? Now you are selling the stock because you are driven by fear. Last 2 months, the stock market has been on a downward
It's
trend, right?
crazy. Yeah.
If I am not solid, and I have been constantly buying and buying and buying and buying and buying, I at any point your audience will laugh on that, but at any point I don't have 400 to 500 bucks in my checking account. I don't believe in keeping money in my checking account. Why should I waste any interest or any growth? Checking doesn't give me anything at all,
Thank you for
right?
saying that, Kavisha, because that's like such a thing in our heads, like that we should have so much money in our savings account and checking. I mean, of course, you need money to deal with emergencies, but thank you for saying that. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other day I was talking to a friend and she said, money gives me security in my checking account. I said, what security are you looking for? Let's talk about a worst case scenario that, person like me, I know I'm extreme on the point that I have very less money in my checking account. The reason it being is everything else is invested. So I have that level of comfort because I'm so sold out to the fundamentals. I'm so sold out to the fundamentals that nobody can walk me out of that. Now, let's say worst case scenario that I have an immediate need of, $10,000 tomorrow for whatever reason, right? There are a lot of ways to get that money. I mean, you have a credit card, right? Credit card gives you a month and a half to make that payment. And month and a half is a big enough time. Even if you sell your securities tomorrow, it just takes T plus two days for you to get the money back.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many ways you can park your money in money market funds, which are still better than your checking accounts, which are, still
Give you
giving you four to
nothing, no
five percent.
interest. Yeah.
Exactly, checking is
Yeah.
giving you nothing. So
Yeah.
find again, all this boils down to education. Educate yourself that
Yes.
banks have been fooling you in the name of security. There is nothing called security.
Yeah. Yeah.
Security means you are losing money. Even if you park your money in money market accounts, right, which are giving you roughly average around 5%, you still can, at the end of the day, I can sell my money market securities and I can get money in my account in 2 days. So
Mm.
what security are we? It's all in the mind,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So coming back to your question, Ritu, greed and fear.
Yeah.
So you do not take a loss until you sell a security. And if you have done your analysis, if you're thorough with the company, if you invested in a good company, there is nothing to worry about. Today the market is down. It just means it's a sale going on.
Yeah.
market is on discount. Like we have, on Black Friday, Macy's is discount. So we all ladies are rushing to buy this from there. Why not buy when the market is down? This is the sale in the stock market. Buy it because understand the fundamentals.
Yeah, and
Eventually,
it's funny that you mentioned that, Kavisha, because I was thinking about that the other day, and like you just rightly mentioned, the stock market is going down, and I was talking to my husband. I was like, "Oh my God, my stocks are not doing well," and he's like, "Yeah, so buy more," and I'm like, "That's the correct advice." And in my head, I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, what?" No, the fear creeps in, and you're like, "Maybe let me wait and see how it does," and then you lose the good time to buy it, and then you buy it again in higher
exactly.
price. So yeah, but coming back to the knowledge, you need to know that you can depend on the stock, right? Because you have done your analysis, you have learned the company, you know it's what how it has emerged, and you really have to trust that. So yeah, I mean there is risk again, but that's an informed risk that you take, right?
Yeah, there's nothing
Yeah,
without risk, right,
yeah,
Ritu?
yeah,
Even if you
yeah.
sleep at night, there is a risk whether you wake up next day or not. So
That's true.
some amount of risk is really healthy. And the
Yeah,
risk, you become comfortable with taking risk only
yeah,
with education. No matter whatever somebody tells you, it is internal enlightenment awareness that comes by educating yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. Thanks for sharing that, Kavisha. And then we're almost coming to the last few minutes of our podcast. So I really want to touch upon this, okay?
Sure.
Kavisha, I know we all, my audience is like all ages, but mainly our ages, which is like late 30s, early 40s, right? But still, like, what's the best way to start planning for retirement, especially if you're in, I mean, it's 20s or 30s, but let's just say our ages, right? Maybe we just got awakened today, and what should we do today to just make sure that we're doing taking the right steps for our future?
Yeah, so Ritu, so let's say if your audience is somewhere around 20s or 30s also, some part of
Yeah.
your audience, I'll say that understand, acknowledge that you may not be billionaire right now, but you are time billionaires. You have billions of seconds on your side, which makes you in a much better position that you and I are in, or maybe Warren Buffett is, because Warren Buffett would want to trade everything that he has to get those billions of seconds back, right? Because
That's
he
true.
knows how to make money. So understand, nobody is at a loss.
Yeah.
You best would have been that you started in your 20s or maybe early 30s, but the second best is you start today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
understand that there is nothing called late, because you just understood, you just learned about it today, maybe through this podcast. So I'll say
Yeah.
that without any fear, just start educating yourself that, what all different types of investment accounts are there. For example, if you could start with your employer, right? You have your 401k. You will not believe, Ritu, there are so many of my friends who still don't invest in 401k. They are so happy that their paycheck is very big, but they fail to understand that they're losing free money on the table. If my company is giving me a 6% match, which I think is a average match in US, then if I they give me 6% only if I put 6% on the table. If I'm happy taking my 6% back with me, even I'm not getting that 6% from my company. So understand what are the different investment accounts, for example, 401k, start from there. At least start from that much match that your company is giving, because that's totally free money. Do not leave that money on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will say another very good account is your Roth account, your Roth IRA accounts. That's again, you have 2025, you have $7,000 per person limit, right? But again, it's one of the best accounts, investment accounts, in my opinion. Reason being that what you invest is a post tax, but the growth and what when you take that money out, it is all tax free. So, 401k, Roth IRA, then you have other children accounts like, 5 to 9. I opened these accounts for my kids when they were very, very young. So, thing is that early you start, regardless of these peaks and valleys of the stock market, which is bound to happen. That's the
Yeah.
part of the process. That's a
Yeah.
cleanup process. So, don't worry about that. Do not sell your stocks by getting fearful that the market is getting down only because people are selling stocks. People are taking this loss. Don't take that loss. Let that loss be virtual. Be satisfied in yourself that it's not going to do you any harm. Just stay put in the game.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
leave the game again and again and think that I lost my money, stock market is bad. Stock
Yeah.
market is not bad.
Yeah.
Understand, stock market is a conglomeration of fantastic companies wherein engineers and educated people like you and I are working day in and day out to make that company successful. Whether that be Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, whatever, they are the best of engineers and they are working day in and day out to make their company a success. So
Yeah.
you are doing your work, whereas somebody else is doing their work, making sure their company is going up. So one fine day, if the stock is coming down, it's not because Microsoft did something wrong. It's
Yeah.
not because Nvidia did something wrong. It is because there was a decision taken at an economy level which public did not perceive very well. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with your investment. Stay invested. Do not take that loss. Learn about these accounts. As I said, Roth, 401k, 529. And Ritu, by the way, I have my own financial channel also. That's called Immigrant Millionaire. Maybe you would want to share with your viewers. It's been a
Yeah.
while that I shared any videos,
Yeah.
but there is a video which talks about the order of investing, that how
Mm.
you should, because there is an order to investing, that first, let's say you have first $1,000 to spare. This is the account that you should prioritize, then this, and then this, because that order, in that order, last is the brokerage account, which is um, your usual Fidelities and the Vanguard accounts,
Yeah.
because in that order, all the other accounts that come before you give you some or the other tax advantage. And we don't want to lose on that, because
Yeah.
that's the journey,
Yeah.
that's the sequence that we have to follow.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Kavisha. And when I post this episode, I'm gonna tag your account as well so that people can go check. Because I'm gonna tell my viewers that that's an amazing, amazing channel to if you want to start, if you want to know where to start and even get into more expert advice. Kavisha has many videos put on there which explain in detail many concepts. So I would really encourage people to go and check that channel as well. But Kavisha, this was amazing. I'm I'm really thankful that you came, and I myself feel so much more equipped with knowledge, and I hope my viewers will feel the same. And then take that step right now, just like you said. It's never too late. The
Yep,
first best thing may be behind us, but the second best thing is right now. So let's just take that step and take our financial independence and financial reign in our hands and yeah, grow, right?
absolutely.
Yes. Okay. All right. With that, Kavisha, I really want to thank you so much for coming. And I really hope we can do more of these episodes. I'm sure I'll get more requests for definitely more episodes from you because I feel like really enriched. So thank you so much. And
Thank you,
yeah,
Ritu.
have a great day. Bye bye. I'll see you.
Same to you. Take
Yeah.
care.
Bye.